Welcome to REI Spotlight with your host, David Schwann, and today's guest is Dino Pierce with Edified Equity. Dino, welcome to the show and give us a little bit about your background.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again. Like we were talking a little earlier, last time we saw each other physically was here in Denver, actually this year. So good to be here, and thanks for the invite.
No problem at all, man. Appreciate you hopping on with us and giving our listeners another point of view.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Dino, and I started Edified Equity. We are a multifamily asset acquisition and management firm. We focus on B and C class workforce, affordable housing in emerging markets. And I also host my own podcast. I really love being, guest on other podcasts as well, and just educating people on what I consider to be a phenomenal alternative investment that is still very under the radar. I mean, my world, our worlds, David, we live in the multifamily space, so we get it a lot.
Definitely.
But the truth is, if you step outside into the rest of the world and ask them, if they ever thought they would invest or buy an apartment community, they would say, like, no way. I don't even know who owns those things, but it's definitely not people like me. And that's not true. It's just, they just don't know that the opportunity is out there. So I try to do, my best. Yeah, I just try to do my best to get the word out and educate, asking for nothing in return. It's kind of like when I close out my podcast, I always say, I don't have anything to sell, but I will, be delivering quality consultative information, just like we're going to do today. And that's it. I'm in it for the long game, and I want to give.
Definitely. It's a shame that more people don't know about our space, because that's one of the awesome things about the multifamily space in general. Mm-hmm. A very large portion, there's some idiots out there and but for the majority of it, most everybody has a very positive mindset, a very growth mindset, and a very abundance mindset versus, a scarcity mindset. Everybody really wants to see everybody do good, which I love that about this. Some people are like, well, what do you love about this industry? That's one of the things that, that's not something you can necessarily bring up and say to an investor that they're not really always, that's not like really their cup of tea or what they're worried about. But on the personal side, it's like, it's nice to be in an industry that most of the people truly care. They want to see everybody succeed. And they understand that, look, this is a pretty big pie that we're dealing with. Sometimes it may, it may feel like it's a little bit small, and there's a little bit of, fighting for the same piece of pie. But in reality, it's a really big pie, and there's room for just about everybody out there. So.
Yeah, for sure. Especially on the operating side, the active side, the general partnership, there is. And especially on the passive, where you have a true passive limited partner that owns a piece of that building with you. They're just not going to do the day-to-day operations and manage the manager, do the asset management, find the deals, put up risk capital, everything that, the active side's doing. But there's definitely room for that. Even in today's competitive market, I see deals are done almost daily. Something comes across my desk, whereas, a new announcement, another deal's closed or on a contract and things like that. So I know the investment opportunities are out there, and it's a matter of us legally getting the word out, because we do play in the, in the SEC world where we are watched. So we have to make sure we're educating and not actually, inviting people to come into our deals, which I never do. We're just offering education, and that's it. So whether or not they invest with you, me, or anyone else out there, if they like the asset class as a whole, if they like the active operator, and they like what I say they're serving them on the menu, like this real specific opportunity, then they should get involved in that one.
Oh, definitely, definitely. There is, and I know we, the topic we were going to cover is a little bit about patience, but I'll just touch on a little bit. I'll let you expand on it more. But
Sure.
that's the whole thing wait, wait for your menu item to be on the menu. It's like, look, there's a lot out there. There's people pounding the pavement and working on don't get too scared that, look, just because this deal doesn't meet, the don't stretch for that deal. It's like, look, if
Right.
this deal doesn't meet your specific criteria and what you're comfortable in, don't push it. Just wait for that one that fits you,
Yeah,
because there's people out there, they're pounding the pavement every day, and if it isn't this one, the right one's coming.
for sure. Yeah, and even if, I mean, as smart operators, they will wait, and we would rather say, and we actually, this is true. This has happened to us recently, to where we took, before we ever brought an opportunity to our relationships, our partners, we backed out of the deal, and we were out money on attorney fees, inspection, things like that. But instead of massaging the numbers to make it work and take the deal down, we knew, we're smart, we're investors. We knew that the right decision was to take this smaller loss rather than get into a deal that it'll take us 5 to 10 years, to perform on the business plan, and then come to find out it doesn't even work because we had, found XYZ and still went through with the deal. So patience is first and foremost. And also, being conservative on the underwriting and only getting involved in the deal. I think if you take the ego out, a lot of people are like, how many people were asking me not long ago on a podcast, like, if we were going to do 1,000 units this year. And, my answer is, sure, if we find 1,000 units, but we might do 0 more. And if we do, that's the answer that I'm more happy with, because we are investors. I'm not in a race to get to, for example, this is just a pretend number, but I'm not in a race to get to 30,000 doors under management. That's not the goal. The goal is to be an investor and make investments when they are true investments and they make sense. If I wanted to gamble, I can have a lot of fun in Vegas. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Definitely. And we're playing in that space where, it's not, I may want to go to Vegas and, I want to throw some money down, but that's my money. And if
Yeah,
I lose it, I lose it. But
right.
it's a whole nother thing when you're going, when you went to Mr. or Mrs. Investor and went, hey, let me take this big chunk of your nest egg that you sweated for, and I can't go and ask somebody for funds and then go gamble with their funds.
Yeah,
It's bad enough that, just in our day to day, even with the best underwriting and everything else, it's still a risky proposition with lots of good, educated, smart moves behind it.
yeah,
But it is the world that we live in, and it's fair to throw out there that, look, no matter how great the underwriting is, no matter how great the opportunity is, there's always that 1% chance. There's at least a 1% chance on every deal that this thing just goes completely berserk and some unforeseen thing blows it to pieces.
that's right.
It's there, but I'd rather leave it to that 1% than there's a 50% chance, or like when you go to Vegas, there's a 1% chance that you're going to win, and there's a 99% chance that the house is going to eat your lunch.
Right.
I'm not into that game for sure.
Right. No, I'm on the same page. I mean, the reason that I can sleep well every night is because I know that our portfolio is performing, and we are investors and our partners are involved in deals that are cash flowing. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're appreciating, and all the things associated with our investment world, which is cash flow and tax benefits. They're going to appreciate some profit on the back end. or maybe even during a refinance. And, that's tax-free as well because we're adding more leverage. So there's all types of benefits there. But what I'm trying to say is the reason I can sleep well is because I'm not worried. I'm not like saying, oh my goodness, will this one make it? I don't have one in my brain that bothers me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know about that one in that market. I don't know why we ever did that. I don't have that. But like you said, everything exists. There's all possibilities. That's why we have the private placement memorandum that's going to spell out like
every one of those ways that it can happen.
Yeah, right. It's going to be like, hey, they have good intentions. I'm their attorney. But by the way, here's all the risks.
Yeah.
So, and that's it for me. If we, and I've used this analogy before, but if you and I invest into a syndication, and let's say I was on the operating side, you weren't, you were on the limited partner side, you own the piece, but you weren't responsible for the active day-to-day operation, and it went south, even if there were no violations, associated with the bad boy carve-outs, it's just like something unforeseen happened, I would not say, oh, well, we never expected that, I'm so sorry. No. First of all, it would be a lesson learned for me, and I would move on. I'm like resilient, and I'll be like that 100,000 or whatever it was, like I'll get it back. And I learned from that. But it's your 100,000 or whatever you put into it that would make me lose sleep, and literally I would be at the doctor because I had stomach ulcers because I was so worried about it.
Oh, definitely. I'm right there. I've always said that. Look, I can lose my money. I sweated for it. I don't have a problem losing my money because it was my sweat. I can duplicate my sweat, but it's a whole different story when it's Dino's sweat. Yeah. I can't. Yeah. You're right. I think we're both on the same page. I think something like that is like, something goes sideways. Me and the doctor are gonna have to talk because these Tums ain't gonna be enough to cut it.
Right. Yeah. And it can, look, we're playing in that world where it can happen. We're aware of it. Well, we do everything possible to prevent that from happening. And we actually, we're talking about the downside, but we're actually trying to do things like double your money in a small amount of time frame and help. We even talk about like the why behind what we do. The reason we focus on where we focus is because the demand. There's so many people right now that need a safe, affordable place to call home, a shelter. It's one of our basic human needs that we have. So we enjoy, there's a big why to that too. And if you buy it right, don't over leverage, you're in an emerging market and you're supplying that safe, affordable housing, staying at market, maybe even slight below, there's a really good chance that over time, and this comes with the patience, as you force appreciation, you add some of the upside that doesn't even cost money, it's just better operations, and you wait it out. If you play the long game, real estate has always appreciated, and you're going to see that win.
Well, I'm pretty sure somebody could dig in the weeds and prove me wrong on saying this, but even in the single family side, I know, this is all multifamily, but even on the single family side, there's very few markets that, yes, 07, 08 happened, they crashed, but look at most of those markets now. Mm-hmm. They're at or above those 2007 prices. So, if you had held it and just kept it, you were okay in the long run. It was there's a whole bunch of factors, but still, it's still to your point of, even when there is that occasional and, pretty much rare occasion where real estate does, tank, that just hold on to it. Most of the time, 99% of the time, it'll come back. It may take 10 years. But it'll be back.
Yeah. So, yep. Same thing with, with other investments too. And I don't play the stock market anymore, but at one time I was in the stock market, and I had an experience where literally overnight, I think our shares went from 55 to like 22 or 23. And the worst thing I could have done was said, like, I need to get out of this and sell. We waited it out. Now, it took a full 5 years just to make it back. But again, I was able to hold on, and I learned a lesson.
Patience.
I learned a lesson. So, But I think we wanted to touch a little on patience, and
Yes.
not just in, being patient for your investment to pay off, because that going in. I think when a sponsor, a deal specific direct investment sponsor puts a deal in front of you, you see right there on the business plan, oh, okay, they plan on like refinancing at year 5 or 7, for example, then holding for another 5 or 6 years. Like I'm looking at, 10, 12 years that I'm in this. Yes, I'm going to get paid along the way and there's going to be all kind of benefits. So I'm not talking about that type of patience. Now and that's why even when we have people ask, they're like, well, what about an emergency? What if I need my 100,000 back? We come right back and say, look, if we would be willing to work with people for hardship, but we want you to be in this investment for the 10 years. So if you think there's something, like, don't do it. But what I'm talking about is, no matter what your goal is, if you want to be, in our situation where we're on the active side, we're bringing opportunities to our relationships, we're underwriting deals, we're analyzing markets, we're operating deals, that takes patience and it takes time. Definitely. And, even when starting a blog, starting a podcast, if you stick to it and you put out a weekly podcast for a year, you'll have 52 episodes. At the end of the year, you might have, 15, 30, 60 subscribers. Maybe some of your videos have been watched 7 times. If you're really all in, like when I talk about multifamily, I talk about real estate, I tell people 5 years real estate. The past 2 solely into multifamily, and I have another at least 30-year runway ahead of me. And actually, being honest with you, I think it's more like 35 or 40, but I'm always on the conservative side. So if I say that to you and I'm like, David, I got 30 more years ahead of me, I can afford to say no for the rest of the year and all next year and the year following. It might take me 3 years before we find another deal, but it doesn't matter when you're playing a 30-year long game. And but going back to the YouTube example, if you stop because you have 15, 30 subscribers or whatever after you're like, man, I put a year into this, then if I were to do that, then all this lip service of me saying I'm in for another 30 years, that's all it was. It was just talk. If you're in it for 30 years and you keep doing a weekly podcast for 30 years, guess what? In 30 years, you are going to have a huge following. Your biggest concern should be, will YouTube be around in 30 years?
Yeah. It's like, my plan is to, because I do 2 a week. So it's, mine's, look at, at the end of the year, it won't be 104 because I didn't start on January 1, but it's like, look from, I still have, we're here at the beginning of July. So I still have 52 more to put out this year. So, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. And it's like, well, they grow every, it's like, look, I keep like you say, with the patience, because this is a rather young podcast at this moment in time, but the consistency and keep doing it. It grows. You see it. You just have to have that patience and be consistent and be methodical about it and make sure that, just that on the broader perspective that, it's like, look, you set goals, you set criteria for a reason. This is where you want it. This is your goal. This is your vision. This is where you're heading. You only get there when you concentrate on it. And, I guess, one of the points is be patient and pick up what you're wanting. You want a cheeseburger and somebody gives you a menu that only has pizza on it. Well, might have to wait and grab a menu that has a cheeseburger on it.
Yeah. Exactly. And just enjoy the process, like enjoy the beginning stages. Because one day you'll be in 30 years from down the road. And whether it's, I'm using 30 because that's like my number, but if it's 10 or 15, that's still a very long game. Most people don't think 10 years down the road. They think 10 minutes down the road, or maybe even 10 days if we're lucky. Probably not.
Not that many.
Yeah, right. So maybe a day. And what I'm getting at is, enjoy all the process so that you one day can pass on and say, hey, look, so 15-year-old person or 20-year-old person, let me tell you something. As someone who's done it for the past 15 years, you're doing phenomenal. The one lesson I wish you that I can if I can take a chip out of my brain and download it into your brain today is the value of patience and never to quit. And don't even worry about the likes, comments, reviews. It's fine if you want to ask for that. But I'm saying don't worry about it, because if you do it long enough and you're good at it and people are getting value from your show, people are going to tell other people and they're going to find out. And it's going to come. And this is not just, we're talking about a podcast example because I used that, our YouTube show. But this is if you wanted to run faster, if you wanted bigger chest muscles, abdominal, like if you wanted to build a business around whatever you love. If, I don't know, if your thing was Batman and you wanted to build a business around, Batman t-shirts and bracelets or whatever it is, it takes some time. But I think patience and learning to love the process and really enjoy the challenges and the ups and the downs, because they're going to be there as well. But I always try to find a way to look at it and say, a tough time, it's like, I'm going to learn from this. This is making me stronger. And then, it might be 2 or 3 days of tough. And then you get a breakthrough. Something happens where you get a phone call, out of the blue with an investor who saw me on David's podcast and liked what I had to say, something like that. Those breaks happen, but don't look for the home runs. Look for the view on your marathon. And I think you'll enjoy the journey more and you'll be less rushed to get there.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, and enjoy the, enjoy the journey. I mean, look, yes, it gets hard, but just think of it as like, look, you're going to have trials and tribulations, but that is your education, where now you get to somewhere down the road. Hopefully, you get to be the expert, and then you can, reach back to that younger person and go, hey, no, what you're about ready to do, because I do this with my daughter all the time. I mean, she's 14 and it's like, I do the same thing. It's like, I want to be able to go, hey, here's my wisdom. Here's where I've suffered this pain for you already. So I went through this pain for a reason. So now that I've went through that pain, now I can make sure that, I can help you not do it, or at least if you are going to go through the pain, because some stuff it's going to happen, like if you're building muscles, you're going to get sore. There is no magic way around it.
Right.
But if you tell somebody who's working out that after, okay, well, you just did so many sets, heat, ice, and that's going to ache a little bit in the morning, but here's some things to kind of do in the morning to kind of help you get through it.
Yeah.
It's that education and that experience, but if you don't take the time and enjoy it while you're going through it, then, I mean, kind of what's the point then? It's exactly. Like, enjoy it for sure.
I do the same thing with my kids. I mean, my daughter she's only 10. She's so competitive. Like, she's a super competitive person, like by her nature. And so anyway, she'll ask me things like, Daddy, why can you do X, Y, and Z better than me? And it's hard. So I'll tell her, like, well, I've been doing that since I'm like a 12-year-old little boy. You're not even 12 yet, and you're doing it, and then when there's other things where she's like coding, she does this computer program where she creates her own videos and games, like where they play games and they're actually coding. And she's like, Dad, I need help with this. So I'm the first to tell her, baby, I will try my best to help you. But when it comes to coding on this game, you know a lot more than Daddy, because you've been doing it longer. Like, Daddy hasn't even done it at all. So I take that opportunity to say, you see, it works both ways now. And I didn't go to the computer and say, why can you code so much better than me?
No, it's just, you go, look, that's a perfect opportunity where you go, look, we all have experience in life. When you need help, you really should look towards somebody that has more experience. And, I'll help you, but honestly, you're the expert on this one, so I'll do the best I can. But, it's like, look, you're really the expert here. Exactly
what I tell her.
but yeah, that's just, that patience and that learning curve, and have that patience, enjoy it, because, as long as you enjoy it, and you're, and then, you get to help, others down the road, and help them avoid, what little bit of pain the pain that you've been through, and just,
Sure.
but, keep that patience, and then when you have patience, and then you finally get that, what I want, it's like, wow. And I
Yeah.
think when you force yourself to have that discipline to be patient, when you get it, when you find that I think the reward is just that much sweeter, of, look, I didn't settle. I didn't, I don't have to, like in the multifamily, well, I didn't have to have sleepless nights, because I made
Right.
sure that, my numbers were my numbers, that, and the investors, I've talked to them, and I understand that, and these are the numbers that they're looking for. This is the opportunity that they want to be involved in. And,
Yeah.
and it's like, then raising capital for something, it's like, well, this is what this isn't, I'm not taking their money. I'm not forcing them to give me money. It's like, no, this is, they're out there, they're wanting to. And it's like, okay, awesome. I have found what you guys are looking for. And now it's time to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And just, it's like, that's an awesome feeling. And it's like, I think that, when you have that patience and you do it right, that you just have so much more joy, and it's so much more fulfilling to
Yes.
do it the right way, and to get what you want in it, instead of, it's like, look, if you really wanted a Corvette and you went and bought a 20-year-old Accord, I don't think you're going to be quite as happy when you sit down in the driver's seat, especially not if you're wanting that shiny red Corvette. It's like, this don't feel quite as well. But if you put your time in, and, you go to the Chevy dealership where they actually have Corvettes, and you buy one, and you sit down in it, and you go, this is what I wanted. I'm happy. It's just that being patient and doing what you need to make sure that what you're getting into is what you want.
Yes, for sure. And for me, I mean, I'm so simple. I'm already, I'll tell you right now, today, like I'm already very happy. I have my kids are healthy. They're at really good ages. That, I haven't hit the teenage years yet, so I'm prepared. but I'm such a simple, and I'm really, from what I'm hearing from other people, is that it's really something that I don't want to say I've taken for granted, but it's something that I'm fortunate, because I really, like, we're talking about a Corvette, or you can a Lamborghini, a mansion, whatever it is. Like, I honestly will not have those, simply because I don't want them. My end goal is to be able to look back after 30 more years, 35, whatever it is, and say, I did it. I steadily, for the past 30 years, 35 years, with my partners, I've built up this empire of cash flowing workforce, affordable housing across, the Southeastern United States. And my big, I did it. My big reward is going to be to have my children and other people follow the journey and see me do it. That inspires them to take that lesson and carry it over into whatever they're working on in their life. Like, for me, that's because I've already won in the fact that I'm happy today. Like, I don't know what could make me happier right now. So and I love what I do, obviously. And I like offering people opportunities. And like I said earlier, supplying that safe, affordable place for people to live. But I don't have that big ticket item isn't waiting for me. I don't even know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe a trip somewhere, but again, that would be more of an experience, not something that I can show to you, be like, look, I did it. It's right here.
Yeah. Well, I think you and me kind of, it's more that, that thing that I'm gonna hold up in the end is, it's pictures of me and my child, like someplace that, it's like, look, it's being, it's me and my daughter in front of the Sydney Opera House. I mean, that's one that it's like, that's the type of stuff, because, me and her, we want to travel, so that's a big thing for us. But, it's that part of it. I use a Corvette, but that's, I'm with you on that. Look, it's not like the material things. It's being, I'm in this so that it's for the experience of life. It's like, that's kind of why I do it. And like you said, and on the flip side, being able to provide, affordable housing to people without, I'm making my living and they're making their living, but they're not having to stress out. I'm not causing excess stress on these individuals, because I'm giving them fair quality housing that is, it's priced right for the market. It's affordable. People who, are, who are making our world go round, they get a comfortable bed and a roof over their head, and, we try to keep the bed dry, that's the whole point.
Yeah, and you're creating a community for them, a place to call home. That's why they want to stay there. I mean, there is a big why to it. But back to the Corvette thing, it's like that for me, that's just not for me, but it might be for someone. Like, I don't know, maybe my brother's like, no, like, that's why I'm doing this, is because I want a Corvette. And that's fine. Like, chase that. That's your thing. This is my thing. And we all have our different things. If that's what you truly want, then go for it. It's just, that's why I was saying, maybe I'm unique in the way where, like, I have nothing like that. Nothing like that is calling me, but if it is, then use that as your reward. And then when you get there, just all I'm saying is don't cash out too early, keep working towards the process. Then when you get to the Corvette and it doesn't affect the way you live and you're providing for your family, maybe it's time for you, and it's okay to enjoy that success.
Yeah, but it's like you said. I mean, if that's your goal, that's your goal. I'm not harping on anybody's goal. It's like, look, we all, there's a reason for all of us to, open our eyes, swing out of the bed, put our feet on the floor.
Yeah,
we all have our reason. It's not up to me to decide what your reason is, and or really, or you. I mean, unless you're helping me, unless you feel obligated to help me get to mine.
Right.
But, it's like, look, it's my goal. It's my personal goal. And it's what drives me. If you don't have, as long as you have something that drives you to get up and put your feet on the floor and get up in the morning and go put your best foot forward. That's, that's when you have the goal. Whatever that goal is, even if it's, hey, I just really like what I do. So I get up and I do it every day just because I enjoy doing it and I have fun at it. It's whatever you need to have your goal. If you don't have a goal, you need to go find one really quick because you need it.
Yeah. You definitely need something. There has to be something that drives you. You have to have that passion, that why. And or else there's no reason to do it for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? There really isn't just no reason to do it.
Definitely.
But getting back to, patience on what we are doing, because we are in acquisitions mode and we're looking for opportunities. But again, there's no rush. We're taking the long game approach. And if we don't find a deal this year, then we won't do one. It's that simple. And my ego's not hurt at all. I would much rather tell you, if you were my number one, you're a brain surgeon and you're like, I love what you're doing, but I'm just too busy. I've got a crazy schedule. I can't do it, but I know you guys are doing it right. So every opportunity you have, come and tell me, let's talk about it. Let's go to lunch, whatever. And I would rather you call me and say, what's up? Haven't heard from you. Like, are you still in the business? Then me make you get into a deal that we're just massaging to make it work. That's it.
Yeah. You just have to have the patience to do it right. I mean, just to set those goals, set your markers, and it's like, look, it's all about flow and cycles, and in some cycles, every other deal, or a bunch of deals will hit your criteria, and then you're just picking out the cream of the crop, and then other days it's like, well, it's a drought. What I need and what my investors are expecting is not there, and I'm not going to force them to take something, or or be like you said, massage it so it looks a little bit better, because an awful deal is still an awful deal, no matter how much you massage it. At the end of the day, if it was junk, it was junk,
That's
and that's just how it is. And and I think we're both on that same thing of no junk here, please.
Yeah, no, we definitely see we definitely see eye to eye on all of that. And just again, back to the patients, no matter what you do, if you're listening to this somehow, some way, and you're not involved in multifamily, I want the takeaway message is just don't rush it. There is no, in my opinion, yeah, you could win the lottery. I can't because I don't even play it. I would rather do the 30-year marathon, but you can win the lottery. I mean, that's why, again, there's so many, you read the stories about so-and-so won the lottery and in 5 years they're broke again. It's because they didn't have the right lessons in place. They didn't see that the valuable things in life weren't at the forefront. They chased the things and spent the money, and now they're back. If they would have done the right thing and maybe invested it, lived still below their means, which, by the way, would have been phenomenal probably compared to what they had before, they could have been set for life and going on experiences. And I don't know, go devote your life to your favorite charity and like find purpose through that way. But instead they find themselves broke again. So again, just stay in it for the long haul. Find what it is that attracts you so much that you want to put in the next 20, 30, 10, 15, whatever that number is, years towards it, because there are no shortcuts. Everything that I come from people who come from nothing and became business owners. They like bootstrap type business people. Mm-hmm. There are no shortcuts. It took work, and it took a lot of time, and it took calculated risks for them to get there.
Yep. Calculated risk, effort, and it's just, you got to keep that spirit and that keep plugging away. And, it's like, look, if you have to have that patience, and you have to keep plugging away. If it's a no, it's a no. Yes. Each no you get, who knows exactly what that sweet number is to the yes, but it's that one more no out of the way. It's like, look, you looked at it and it didn't pass the test, so it's on to the next one. And that's just you have to have that patience and that mindset to be able to look at it that way, and just understand that you wrote your criteria for a reason. You have those benchmarks for a reason. And, if it doesn't clear, it doesn't clear. And don't get that emotional investment of it has to clear. It would be nice, but you gotta hold that patience for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, Dino. Well, what would you say is your favorite way to give back besides just your educational arm? What other way do you enjoy to give back to your community?
So the way that we give back is a lot of people will sell things so as our kids grow up, as my children grow up, they phase out of toys that are actually in pristine condition, even though sometimes it's like the third pass down because I've got 3 little ones. What we do is we like to teach them giving. And when we give, whether it be toys or clothes or anything like that, instead of selling it on eBay or Craigslist, come pick it up. There's all these let it go or let go, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We go to the Salvation Army with the kids so that they can learn the lesson. Because a lot of time, not always, sometimes it's furniture, which is like everyone's, but mm-hmm. When it's something like to them, what do they hold closest to their heart? Not their clothes, unless it's like a favorite t-shirt that has a dinosaur on it, something like that. But it's their toys. That's like their toys. So when they're ready to let it go, then we we go with them and then we donate things. So in turn, instead of turning that into extra cash, which it could be, I mean, that could be a whole different side hustle, and it could be a smart way to make money out of things you're not using anymore and get rid of stuff. We're teaching our children giving to other people, and they understand what Salvation Army is and what it does. And sometimes it's just straight up giving. So for example, I remember one time it was around the holidays and my daughter got a gift, which she already had. And I told her, I said, you know, your friend that loves these, yes. Does she have this one? No, you do. And like, you just got it not even a year ago. I was like, if I were you, I would give it to her. And, you know, so doing stuff like that is, is our way to give back, not only in the current moment, but we're teaching them to
yeah. That foundation building of like, look, you know, kind of leading back to what we were talking about earlier, that abundance mindset of, look, I have plenty. And I have an opportunity to pass on to somebody else without having to ask for something in return. And it's like, look, this is just out of my joy of, look, here, go enjoy this, have fun with this toy, and just enjoy it. And that just when you do that and you see somebody else who is enjoying something that you've given them, and, you've just rewarded them for, with a gift, and it's like, you just watch their joy. It's like, well, that's just awesome. You can't buy that,
Yeah, no, you can't. The other thing that I teach them because we have, you'll see homeless asking for money, and so I never give money because I don't know what they're going to do with it. Even if the sign says for my rent, struggling family, disabled vet, that might be honest. It might be true, but I don't know that. But I will always give food or a bottle of water, like something that I know, like, okay, well, here's a, like you use the hamburger example, whatever. Here's a hamburger. I know, unless then they're entrepreneurial. If they have the entrepreneurial spirit to go sell it, get money, then do what they're going to do with their money, that's on them.
Yeah.
I give
like,
food.
Look, we're going to make you, it's like, look, I'm going to make you go another step along the way. It's like, look, and sometimes it's like, well, if you're that ingenious about it, well, okay. My heart's clear that I didn't just go up and, straight up give you whatever your vice is, but it's like, look, help out, like I said, I'm definitely that hand up, definitely a hand up person. It's like, look, I'm willing to help anybody who's willing to help them. So, definitely, that hand up and that giving mentality is awesome. I love that spirit, that's just awesome. Well, I think for this one, Dino, how can my listeners get a hold of you?
I'm very active on social media, so you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I'm trying to think of where else. That's pretty much, those are my 4 places that I live a lot. Oh, I know, of course, YouTube as well, YouTube channel, but, plug into the podcast or YouTube, or look me up on like any of those. And if you have show notes, I'm happy to send you the links if that makes it easier as well. If not, like I say, reach out. It's not hard to get a hold of me.
Awesome, Dino. I appreciate it. We'll definitely have to have you back and have another conversation. But until next time, thank you for being on.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Good seeing you.